Good morning. I said good morning, everybody. Again, just a reminder, please, if you have a cell phone, pager, if those still exist, turn those off, please. Or turn on vibrates. Some of you might know me. My name is Tariq Moody. Some people know me as AKA the Architect. I work at 88.9 Radio Milwaukee. Before that, I actually used to practice architecture in Minneapolis. So I'm gonna briefly, a little story about my Milwaukee experience. When I first was approached about moving to Milwaukee to work at 88.9, I really had no perceptions of Milwaukee other than that was north of Chicago. And then they offered me the job, and my first response, quote, Milwaukee, really? I didn't realize that you even had a lakefront, and especially an amazing lakefront at that. I'm really impressed by the lakefront. 6 years later, I'm proud to call Milwaukee home. Because of the work I do at 88.9 Radio Milwaukee, I really became involved in many different events, culturally, musically, especially in the local music scene, and especially in the local burgeoning tech scene. There's a lot of great tech startups here. You should get to know them. I even became involved in promoting local artists personally and events. I even started my own record label. Milwaukee has ignited a spark in me and in my spirit and soul that's got me involved in no ways I could ever imagine. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Brian Simon, owner of Simon Landscape Company, director of the Energy Exchange, and chairman of the Green Corridor. The Green Corridor is 3 miles of South 6th Street from Howard to College in the 13th District, also known as the Garden District. Just over a year and a half ago, the Common Council established the Green Corridor as a showcase and living laboratory for new and innovative sustainable technologies. Accomplishments include a beautifully landscaped community garden and farmers market, bioswales, rain gardens, permeable parking lots, solar-powered pedestrian paths, crossings, and bike lanes. To date, over 9 million gallons of rainwater per year are being kept out of the city's storm sewer system, and businesses are saving thousands of dollars in stormwater management fees. Future projects include a 3-block long net zero development, an urban orchard using rainwater for irrigation, solar flowers, solar-powered street signs, and pedestrian bike trails. Through collaborative efforts with partners like the City of Milwaukee, Milwaukee County, American Rivers, MMSD, Gateway to Milwaukee, and several local businesses, neighborhood associations, and nonprofits, the Green Corridor is rapidly transforming an underutilized area of our city into a vibrant community asset. Thank you, Mayor Barrett and City of Milwaukee, for your leadership and shared vision for the future of our great city. Thank you.
Hello, neighbors. My name is Sharon Adams, and I live and work in an area called Lindsay Heights. It's 495 acres. In 1997, I returned to my homestead to discover my Northside neighborhood rated the 3rd in the nation growing in poverty. Well, we still have a ways to go to co-create an economically diverse community. However, we are making progress and aligned for improvement. We are moving from isolated interventions to collaborations for the common good. I love Milwaukee's faith in action. Together we solve problems, share skills and resources. Housing, where there was blighted properties, there are now over 200 new and rehabbed homes. Where there were vacant and dumped on lands, we have, some of you know, peach orchards all over the place. Together, residents, political, civic, academic, and corporate leaders embrace the truth and the joy of collective impact. We celebrate success. We are co-creating vibrant places for people to live, play, worship, learn, shop, run businesses, and more. My hope is we continue with resolve to make every neighborhood a vibrant point of destination. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Tom Manos from Dental Associates, the largest family-owned group practice in the state of Wisconsin. Milwaukee has played a critical role in our company's past, present, and future. Our history in Milwaukee spans over 40 years. Our first clinic was located not far from here on Cesar Chavez Drive, where my uncle started with one dental assistant. We have since grown to a company of over 100 doctors and almost 900 employees. We were founded on the principle of providing high-quality dental care to all people. When we open a dental clinic in an area, one of our goals is to become part of the community, and that's where Wisconsin, and Milwaukee in particular, differs from a lot of other big cities. I love the fact that it has major sports teams, theaters, and festivals, but the soul of the city has more of a small-town feel. It has a tremendous sense of community, ethical values, and it has a feel of family. It's a city where people gather together in times of celebration and despair, but always in support of each other. With our recent purchase of the Iron Block building, Milwaukee's historic answer to the past, we're looking forward to restoring it to its sense of grandeur. This building was built in 1861. Abraham Lincoln was still the president. It's the only cast iron facade building in Milwaukee, and it's truly a labor of love to restore. And we're looking forward to strengthening our commitment to the Milwaukee community. I like to think of us embracing Milwaukee's past while we look forward to the future. Thank you very much, and don't forget to smile more.
Good morning. My name is Dinora Marquez, and I am the director of the Latino Arts Strings program. I'm also a Mexican immigrant, an artist, and educator that is proud to call Milwaukee my home. One of Dr. King's beliefs was that the measure of greatness of a person is by the magnitude of his or her service. And one of President Kennedy's dreams was to make America a place where cultural opportunities were available to all its citizens. And I believe that Milwaukee embodies both. Milwaukee is a minority-majority city, and in all its communities, there are wonderful organizations and individuals that are working to make King's model of service and Kennedy's call for cultural agency a reality. The Latino Arts Strings program is a case in point. We're housed in the United Community Center, which has provided social, educational services, as well as support for the arts in our community for over 45 years. And now, through the Latino Arts Strings program, we are giving our students the tools that they will need to have a professional life that is creative and disciplined. And we see these talents and their achievements, not just through their musical talent, but through their academic achievement, when they're outperforming the rest of the state by 13 to 26 percentage points. The hope that Milwaukee has lies in its grassroots community organizations that are working to make all our neighbors' lives better. Whether it's Walnut Way, working with urban farming and the arts, or Diverse and Resilient, helping tell the stories of acceptance, or Yumos, Hapa, and Paca, that are working with immigrants and refugees from 3 different continents. All of these organizations and many others are doing the service that makes our city great. And together, we're all working to create a city where imagination is evident, where history is honored, and where our daily collective lives are the great work of art of our time. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ernest Burton. I am a product of these various organizations that help your neighbors achieve their goals. Through Select Milwaukee, I was able to purchase my first home at a more than decent price in the neighborhood that I was looking for. Ironically enough, it was the only house that I did not look at in the neighborhood. I love Milwaukee. I was born and raised here. I left for a little bit and got to see what other places are like, and I have to praise Milwaukee for being big enough to get lost in, small enough to find your way back home. You don't have to worry about anybody messing with you while you're on your way back home. I'm just grateful to live here. I look forward to the future of Milwaukee. I see a whole lot of things happening. I happen to work in Lindsay Heights neighborhood, maintaining some of the newer properties going up, and I just look forward to the future. Thank you all.
Good morning, Milwaukee. I'm Julie Kaufman. I'm a proud graduate of Milwaukee's Pius XI High School. I own a business called Fix Milwaukee. I also co-founded a local investing group called Fund Milwaukee. I proudly serve on Radio Milwaukee's board of directors, and I just started working with a great new organization called Midwest Bike Share. Through these endeavors, I work to create a more resilient city of Milwaukee. What I love about Milwaukee is her neighborhoods, and I'm particularly proud to welcome you right here to my own historic Walker's Point. One of my great loves is all the small, locally owned businesses right here in our city and here in Walker's Point. For example, Stone Creek Factory, right around the corner, roasting coffee. Great Lakes Distillery, just a block west, distilling spirits. Just down the street on 2nd Street, Milwaukee Brewing Company, crafting local beer. And of course, across the street, the Clock Shadow Creamery, producing fresh cheese curds and Purple Door ice cream. These are the makers of our city, the local small businesses that invest in creating jobs, helping care for the environment, and investing back in our community. We're not asking, what can the city do for us? We're turning around and making this our Milwaukee city. Speaking of making this our city, looking to the future, my hope is that I'll see a lot more of you out on the bike paths and bike lanes that we've created in this city as we hope to bring a bike sharing system here to Milwaukee this year, and I hope I can count on all of you to make it a reality. Cheers.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Reginald Baylor. I'm a local artist. I have a small studio just over the river in the 3rd Ward. How do I even begin to tell you how much I appreciate this city? First, I wore a necktie. That's one. Second, I'd really like to honestly thank my parents, because I didn't choose Milwaukee. They chose it for me. And Milwaukee's been a gift that's been given to me. And to be honest with you, my path in life has been laid very smoothly because of the people in this city who are, I can call my family, the places in this city which I call home, and the place that I work, and things that Milwaukee make, its commerce and its industries and its services and its products. And I also can honestly, and I have to, with the love that I have for the city, respect historically all the people as I look out in the window who have built this city. And I'd like also to be a part of that system, and with that, my entrepreneurial spirit comes with providing a platform for other artists like me to thrive. I'm not an anomaly. There are hundreds and hundreds of artists in this community that deserve and have the intellectual certitude to be a small business owner. And that's what my objectives in living in this city, and believe that it will happen in this city, because if it can happen to me, it can happen to anyone. Thank you very much. And now, And now I present to you our mayor of our fine city, Mayor Tom Barrett. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Now that's the way to start off a Monday morning. Thanks so much to Progressions from the Milwaukee Youth Symphony Orchestra for their wonderful performance. Good morning, Milwaukee. It's a pleasure to be with you to share our state of our city. Welcome, aldermen, other elected officials, distinguished guests, and fellow Milwaukeeans. Thank you, Tariq, Reginald, Dr. Manis, Julie, Ernest, Sharon, Brian, and Denora for your passion and commitment to Milwaukee. You are the people and projects that are redefining our city. Welcome also to this historic building. This was Pritzlaff Hardware, a company with more than a century of history in Milwaukee. Just 6 weeks ago, the building was put on the National Register of Historic Places. Thanks to Kendall Bruning of Sunset Investors for hosting us this morning. Thank you very much for letting us into your beautiful building. Look at what's going on nearby. The Menominee Valley is on a roll. The 3rd Ward continues to thrive. To the south, the Reed Street Yard's transformation from vacant lot to water industry hub will begin this spring. Milwaukee is known as a place where rivers come together. And we are standing right at the confluence of the Milwaukee River and the Menominee River. We are a short distance from the intermodal station, and we are right on the streetcar route. I invite you to think about all the wonderful possibilities in store for this neighborhood and for our great city's future. We chose this location because it captures the old and the new, not just in terms of the building, but also in the way Milwaukeeans and our partners are taking up the challenge to make a great city even greater. Combining our traditions of hard work and perseverance with new ideas, fresh perspectives, and a shared belief in Milwaukee's future, we are blessed to have so many people doing so much to enrich and grow our community. The strength and vibrancy of Milwaukee does not emanate from just one person or entity. Our strength is grounded in the efforts of many. People who often go about their business without fanfare, and businesses and organizations that believe Milwaukee offers a financial return and opportunities to invest in the public good. Organizations are doing remarkable work using arts and culture to transform neighborhoods. Earlier this year, Art Place, which is an initiative of the National Endowment for the Arts, recognized this area of Milwaukee as one of America's top 12 art places. The selection process was determined through a data-driven analysis, and Milwaukee shares this honor with cities like San Francisco, Miami Beach, and New York City. I've been a believer in the impact arts can have on the vibrancy and economy of a city. Art Place recognized this area as a catalyst for change and a vibrant place where people want to be. Our next effort focuses on 2 Milwaukee neighborhoods, Harambe and West Wisconsin Avenue, with the goal of strengthening the relationship among local government, businesses, local artists, and community members. It takes creative and dedicated individuals like Keith Hayes of Be In Tween to see the potential of social innovation efforts like this. It's also people like Reginald Baylor and his exceptionally creative work with Plaid Tuba who are helping to shine the spotlight on Milwaukee's creative community. Reginald was recently selected as a Joyce Foundation grant recipient for a project that will focus on engaging communities and strengthening neighborhoods. Our art scene is part of what's attracting young, creative, innovative, and civic-minded talent. 3 individuals whose energy and commitment are producing real results are Ian Epstein of Milwaukee, Angela Damiani, and Jeremy Foyet of Art Milwaukee. Their efforts deserve our attention and thanks. Last year, during the inaugural Young Professionals Week presented by Milwaukee, more than 30 organizations joined in engaging, developing, and retaining young talent. This year, Young Professional Week, coming up in April, will feature highly successful businessman Tony Hsieh, CEO of Zappos. The event will highlight Milwaukee as a great place where talented people choose to work and live. This past year, a group of Milwaukeeans came together to invest in local businesses. They created a group called Fund Milwaukee, designed to bring together local investors and local businesses. Individual Fund Milwaukee members have invested in the growth of great local companies like Purple Door Ice Cream, Bolzano Artisan Meats, Martha's Pimento Cheese, and Central Greens. Efforts like this fuel Milwaukee's future. Julie Kaufman, who did that great commercial, a Fund Milwaukee organizer, says the investors are simply believers in Milwaukee. What they're doing is giving back to our city and our people. Julie, thank you. These are just a few of the examples of the many people in the trenches working to start new companies to change the face of Milwaukee. They are also passionate people in groups like Joe Kurgis of Generator, the GMC's Mike, Dan Steininger and Biz Starts Milwaukee, Sprinkler, Wisconsin Women's Business Initiative Corporation, Startup MKE, and Vet Transfer. Thank you all for all you are doing to make small businesses grow in Milwaukee. As we know, Northwestern Mutual will be growing in Milwaukee as well, building a tower that will bring a generational change to the city skyline. But Northwestern Mutual's investment is more than a tower. Milwaukee's Quiet Company is making a very loud statement by increasing employment downtown. Its expressed vision is the retention of all current jobs and an addition of 1,700 new positions. On top of that, building Northwestern Mutual's new structure will create hundreds of construction jobs for Milwaukee residents and generate new opportunities for Milwaukee-based small businesses. There will be a job training component for our younger and less experienced workforce. I want to thank Alderwoman Malele Cox, Alderman Ashante Hamilton, Willie Wade, and Joe Davis for taking a personal interest in making sure that the training component will produce real results. This will be the largest construction project in downtown since the U.S. Bank building was completed in the early 1970s. Northwestern Mutual could have grown anywhere, but its leaders, especially John Schlifsky, said Milwaukee is the place they want to call home for generations to come. Thank you, John. Thank you, Northwestern Mutual. Downtown has benefited from investments made by Dental Associates, Marriott, and Hilton Garden Inn hotels. West of the river, we have the new and beautiful modern resident tower developed by Rick Barrett. And now with architect Matt Rinka, he's planning a spectacular new building called the Couture near the lakefront. From East Town to West Town, from Yankee Hill to Brewers Hill, from East Point to the 3rd and 5th wards, we have over 20,000 residents living in more than 13,000 housing units down here. It has been a remarkable transformation. We know that our city's future is tied to more people living, working, and investing in Milwaukee. A modern transit system is one element of our strategy to make Milwaukee the place they want to live. It's not the only element, and it's not our only strategy to grow Milwaukee, but a modern streetcar is an important ingredient. So are new fuel-efficient buses. That's why, when I went to Congress in 2009 and broke the 17-year-long dispute over $91 million in federal transit funds, I made sure that Milwaukee County received $36 million for buses. That was on top of $25 million Milwaukee County received in federal stimulus dollars. So many people will benefit from the streetcar. Employers, employees, residents, business owners, and visitors alike will be able to take advantage of this new modern way to get around Milwaukee. There's been criticism over the years about plans for rail transit, but lately I've been hearing new kinds of concerns, like, why don't we have a streetcar already? And what's taking so long? One reason for the excitement and impatience is that Milwaukee residents and visitors have taken modern streetcars in other cities. They've seen what modern rail transit can do, which is why places like Kansas City, Atlanta, and Cincinnati are joining cities like Seattle and Portland in becoming modern streetcar cities. We already have the federal share for the streetcar in the bank. The final engineering phase is about to start and will determine the exact route. And we're also beginning the formal utility coordination to reduce costs, as we do on all major works projects, public works projects. Yet despite the progress we're making, the reality is that we're not in full control of the streetcar's future. The State Public Service Commission may very well disrupt and delay the streetcar. Yes, there will be complications, but I know we can overcome them, like we did when we built Miller Park, when we built the Calatrava, and when the Marquette Interchange was rebuilt. Alderman Bob Bauman and Nick Kovac are two of our staunchest streetcar supporters, and I appreciate their help. What we can see today is ambitious and imaginative individuals have the power to dramatically change our cities. One of those people is Bill Penzie. His company has stores across the country, and through Penzie's Spices, he invites people to think differently about food. Bill is also thinking differently about the long, vacant Northridge Mall. He sees an opportunity for his company there. He also sees a destination for food lovers who can create vitality at Northridge. I agree. Success at Northridge would reverberate across the northwest side, adding to positive activity underway there. The newly created Granville Business Improvement District has focused energy on the economic future of the area. Alderman Bob Puente has added his support. And we have also partnered with the Village of Brown Deer to advance our mutual interests. With all of this, we have reason to be optimistic. And Milwaukee is reinventing itself through technology and innovation. And Milwaukee's International Water Council is the perfect example of that. Through partnerships, Milwaukee is uniquely positioning itself to help solve the world's freshwater crisis. My goal is to increase the number of water industry-related jobs. Our investments in the Reed Street Yards, next door to the Water Council, will lay down our marker as the capital of America's fresh coast. The city anticipates investing between $5 and $6 million in infrastructure, including streets and a riverwalk. The partnership is already paying off. I'm pleased Natural Resources Technology, a Pewaukee-based environmental engineering and consulting firm, sees opportunity and growth in Milwaukee. Today, the company is announcing it will bring its headquarters and 50 employees to a building near the Reed Street Yards. Lori Parsons, the president of Natural Resources Technology, and Richard Fox, the company's vice president, are here. I'd like you to stand so we can thank you and welcome you to the city of Milwaukee. Natural Resources Technology chose this location because of its proximity to water-related research and businesses. The fact that UWM is a school of freshwater science, UWM School of Freshwater Sciences and the Water Council Technology Accelerated Building are so closely tied, geographically and intellectually, didn't happen by accident. We are capitalizing on Milwaukee's strength in water industry and water science, and I thank all of our partners for their investments and commitments to Milwaukee. I'm certain Alderman Jose Perez joins me, as he has been such an advocate for jobs and the water industry. The Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewage District is making significant changes in the Kinnickinnic River, where concrete removal and flood control efforts are adding public benefits that I know Alderman Tony Zielinski appreciates. Similarly, on the Menominee River, fish will swim farther upstream and canoeists will have a new launch near the Miller Brewery Visitor Center. The Sewage District has taken the lead on another important effort. MMSD is investing in a stormwater study that is a key part of our redevelopment efforts in the 30th Street Industrial Corridor. By addressing the stormwater issues, we can protect businesses and property and make the area more attractive for future investment. This is important to our Century City efforts. Work at the former A.O. Smith Tower Automotive site is progressing well. In 2013, our focus moves from the demolition and remediation to infrastructure and marketing. This is an attractive business location, and it is entirely reasonable to expect the same kind of business development we have seen in the highly successful Menominee Valley Industrial Center. Ultimately, this is about jobs, creating employment opportunities near capable and eager workers. 3 years ago, we welcomed Ingeteam, the international manufacturer of green energy components. The company is a major presence in the Menominee Valley. And right now, Ingeteam is announcing that it's looking for 50 workers to assist with a new contract. That's a good news that any mayor loves to hear. Last year, I introduced the Mayor's Manufacturing Partnership to address the shortage of skilled workers. The city's Workforce Board and its partners, Wisconsin Regional Training Partnership Big Step, and the Milwaukee Area Technical College, are working closely with employers to train job seekers to fill regional job openings in manufacturing. In just under a year, we have worked with 43 local employers to train, place, or advance the skills of nearly 500 people in manufacturing careers. I've been to the graduations, and I've seen the incredible pride on the participants' faces. I'm confident more workers and more businesses can benefit from the partnership this year. And I've got a message for manufacturers. If you need workers, we want to help. And the Mayor's Manufacturing Partnership can work with you. On November 5th, it became official. Out of 305 cities, Milwaukee made it into the top 20 cities for the Mayor's Challenge, a national civics contest sponsored by the Bloomberg Foundation. Milwaukee is now in a heated competition for a prize of up to $5 million. Our submission, Milwaukee Homegrown, was generated through a Turnovation event I hosted at City Hall. A Turnovation is like a community town hall meeting where citizens brainstorm to generate problem-solving ideas. The Turnovation attracted hundreds of people who came together to address the issues of foreclosed properties, vacant lots, and food security. The event was so successful that I intend to do more in the coming years. Homegrown empowers residents to transform neighborhoods by repurposing foreclosed properties and sparking new economic activity based on local, healthy food production and distribution. Homegrown is just one measure being employed to address the foreclosure crisis, and it is a crisis. Citywide, we have 3,000 vacant buildings and 4,800 properties in pre-foreclosure status. The city, your city, has amassed an inventory of more than 1,000 homes. Demolition and board-up costs alone are staggering. The city has spent $5 million from the federal government, a few $100,000 from the state, and over $4 million in city funds to take down and board up vacant property. That's right, we have spent $4 million in city money to remedy a problem we didn't cause. $4 million that could have been used for neighborhood investment, police patrols, or healthy infants. And all the while the crisis was mushrooming, the state put $26 million of the National Foreclosure Settlement Funds into its own coffers. To let you know how real this problem is, I want to take a moment to focus on 3 neighborhoods: Amani, Metcalf, and Washington Park. All of them are on the near north and west side of the city. These 3 neighborhoods make up about 2% of the city's total area. But within these 3 neighborhoods, there are 460 vacant buildings, which is 15% of the citywide total. And more than 100 properties are candidates for demolition. If you think the fallout from the foreclosure crisis in these neighborhoods hasn't had an impact on people and crime, think again. Remember, these neighborhoods are just 2% of the city's land area. But in 2012, 13% of the city's violent crime and 8% of all crime were committed in these 3 neighborhoods. To many, especially in state government, these neighborhoods don't exist. They are far away in distant lands, not just easily forgotten, but never even considered. But these neighborhoods are homes to working families and the working poor, people who pay taxes, mortgages, and rent. They attend our schools. They worship in our churches. A lot of the people in this area own their own homes and have a stake in the health and future of their neighborhood. 40% of the homes are owner-occupied. Fortunately, through the efforts of Police Chief Edward Flynn, Neighborhood Service Commissioner Art Dahlberg, Common Council President Willie Hines, and in collaboration with the Northwestern Mutual Foundation, Zilber Family Foundation, the Greater Milwaukee Foundation, and the Dominican Center, Milwaukee has secured a national burn grant and a White House neighborhood capacity grant that will leverage $825,000 to help stabilize these 3 neighborhoods. Others are helping as well. The Center for Veterans Issues does a great job and does great work in Milwaukee addressing many of the problems our veterans face. One of those big concerns is housing. The organization was instrumental in opening Veterans Manor at 35th and Wisconsin, and now is involved in rehabilitating foreclosed housing. In a remarkable partnership with Home Depot, the organization is leveraging foundation dollars with volunteer work from Home Depot associates. More than 1,000 hours since last September. The city is working with them to identify appropriate homes for this rehab effort. This veterans housing work is indicative of our collective character and strong commitment to our great city and our neighborhoods. We continue to align our economic and environmental interests through innovative programs for residents and businesses. Why? Why do we do this? The answer is because we understand that the health of our economy and the welfare of our citizens are tied to a healthy environment. Last July, I announced that Milwaukee had joined the National Better Buildings Challenge. The Better Buildings Challenge calls on businesses and community leaders to reduce their building energy use by 20% by the year 2020. I'm pleased to report today that 6 of the largest buildings in Milwaukee have showed their leadership and have taken the challenge. These buildings and over 130 businesses are investing $13 million in energy-saving upgrades with support from our Milwaukee Energy Efficiency Program and are saving hundreds of thousands of dollars in utility costs. And just last Thursday, Johnson Controls joined the program as well. In addition, more than 560 homeowners have upgraded their homes through ME2 and are enjoying energy savings and improved living conditions. I want to call your attention to another example of an individual being a catalyst for change. As we heard earlier, the Green Corridor is both a place and a concept. Sustainability and neighborhood beauty come together along South 6th Street, united by Alderman Terry Witkowski, neighborhood organizations, local businesses, and a very determined individual in Brian Simon. They are creating a healthy neighborhood. The health of our children and teens is another urgent concern. Over the last year, the city's dedicated public health nurses provided nearly 9,000 face-to-face visits through the city's successful nurse home visitation programs. These visits give parents the support they need to deliver healthy babies and help these new families grow through their first years. To build on our success this year, we are adding additional nurses. This is not the only step we are taking to ensure that more Milwaukee children see their first birthdays. In partnership with the United Way and with the funding of BMO Harris Bank, we launched the Healthy Birth Outcomes Initiative. This effort is focused on reaching my ambitious goal of reducing the infant mortality rate by 10% citywide and 15% among African Americans by 2017. Related to the issue of infant mortality is teen pregnancy. In October, I was proud to announce that for the 5th year in a row, the teen birth rate in Milwaukee decreased. Our city has been held up as a national example for success against teen pregnancy. With the help of the United Way, our health department, and Serve Marketing, I am pleased to tell you we are on track to reach my goal of reducing teen pregnancy by 46% in 2015. That's a goal we have to achieve. As mayor, I'm often asked, Mayor Barrett, I need a job. Can you help me get a job? I find that question coming from a growing number of teenagers. I believe that when a young person is presented with an option to do what's right or is given a chance to prove themselves through hard work, they'll take it. Our summer youth employment program, Earn and Learn, has provided more than 16,500 summer jobs since we began. 2 years ago, we started the Mayor's Earn and Learn Fund, and with generous support from the corporate and foundation communities, we've raised over $1.2 million. I'd like to recognize and thank Giacomo Faluca and John Kissinger for their leadership on this important issue. I'd also like to thank Alderman Willie Wade for the work that he has been doing. This year, I have a goal of 3,000 jobs. I'm going to need your help. So please open your checkbook so we can offer hope and opportunity through an honest day's work and a paycheck and create hope in the lives of the young people in this community. Milwaukee Public Schools Superintendent Gregory Thornton and I share a belief that the circumstances of one's birth should not limit one's opportunity to succeed. It's no secret that many of the MPS facilities are old and lack some of the amenities that other school districts may offer and can afford. In recent weeks, Dr. Thornton, School Board President Michael Bonds, and I have been discussing the condition of the district's 2 major outdoor athletic facilities, Custer and South Stadium. If you've been to these fields, you know, and I'm being kind here, that they need a lot of work. This morning, I'm pleased to announce that we have reached an agreement that will lead to $15 million in improvement for these facilities. And while we're on the subject of the Milwaukee Public Schools, please join me in celebrating a team of young people who are in school today, but who have accomplished something special. 4 students from Milwaukee Rufus King High School have qualified for the 2013 National Forensic League Policy Debate Tournament. Maddie Budney, James Elias, Quinn Miller, and Elias Payne are the only students from our region who have earned a chance to compete in Birmingham, Alabama in June. This exemplifies some of the great things going on in Milwaukee schools. The fiscal health of the city is an issue that must remain front and center. The last few years have been difficult, yet we have met every challenge pragmatically and responsibly. Through the hard work of our great budget office and the deliberate approach taken by the Common Council, we are responsible fiscal stewards. Alderman Jim Bowl and Joe Dudzik are advocates for strong and cost-effective infrastructure investments. As a result, we have achieved a 55-year replacement cycle for the local street paving program, down from 108 years just a decade ago. And we've managed the cost of that change while stabilizing the city's debt service levy. And here's something you haven't read much about. Earlier this year, Pew Charitable Trust released a study on pension and healthcare funding plans for 61 large cities nationwide and found Milwaukee to be a top performer. In fact, the report rates our retirement system as the #1 pension system better funded than any other city or state plan in the country. Our approach to pensions reflects responsible actions on the part of city leaders. I want to thank Alderman Michael Murphy for his hard work on budget and pension issues. Everyone, from management to frontline workers to the Common Council, has stepped up to meet the financial pressures. Fire Chief Mark Rolfing has produced savings of $700,000 without affecting service levels. And in December, we reached an agreement with Milwaukee County that will send all 911 cell calls made within the city to our dispatch center. For close to a decade, these calls were being taken by the Sheriff's Department and then transferred to the city. This 3-year agreement will save county taxpayers money and will improve our 911 dispatch capabilities. I want to thank County Executive Chris Abley and County Board Chairwoman Marina Dimitrievich for their support and willingness to work with us to get this done. Now, let's get the work done to finish the Park Patrol agreement, which I know the County Executive agrees with me on. But there are other examples of where Milwaukee plays well with others. The City of Milwaukee Public Schools and the City and Milwaukee Public Schools are participating in a joint request for dental vendors to provide quality services at competitive costs for all employees of the city and MPS. And we recently entered into agreement with County Executive Don Vracas and Waukesha County to plan for a single-stream recycling processing center. This will increase the volume of recyclables and generate savings. We're doing a lot of heavy lifting, but the load isn't getting any lighter. Over the next 6 years, the annual wage and benefit payments for police and fire alone will grow to nearly $1/3 billion. Our state shared revenues and expenditure restraint program payment is $227 million, the same as it was in 2012, and the same as it will be under the proposed state budget in 2014 and 2015. In fact, the program has basically been frozen for a decade, resulting in an inflation-adjusted loss of $78 million since 2003. I appreciate that our state aids haven't been dramatically reduced. And it certainly has been more than one governor and one legislature that have not added inflationary adjustments. That being said, the delivery of essential services and making necessary infrastructure improvements will be increasingly difficult to meet. Compounding this issue is the fallout from the collapse of the housing market and the resulting foreclosed and vacant properties within the city. In light of all of this, why would anyone think this is the time to lift residency as a condition of employment in the state budget? Why wage an attack on the principle of local control in the state budget? It is beyond me. It is wrong for the fabric of our city, it is wrong for the fabric of our neighborhoods, and it is very wrong for the city's fiscal health. The state hasn't kept up its end of the tax-based equalization bargain. The state has codified into law that we, the only city in the state, are mandated to engage in issue-by-issue arbitration with our most costly bargaining unit. For the state to now swoop in and wipe out our home authority is the very definition of big brother government. This is not the way to govern. And I am asking the state legislature to leave residency a local issue. Take it out of the budget. Finally, I want to take a minute and talk about something that has generated a lot of speculation. Over the next few months, the issue of whether to build a new arena will need to have a full public vetting. Because it's early in the process, I want to lay out what I believe are fundamental pieces to the puzzle. Let me be clear. I want Milwaukee to be the home for the Milwaukee Bucks for decades to come. This team is an important asset to the city, to the region, and to the state. The team belongs in Milwaukee. The team belongs in Wisconsin. That's why I want the process to be transparent, honest, and open. However, I cannot support a City of Milwaukee or Milwaukee County only financing plan. We need to have a regional plan because the Bradley Center is a regional and state asset, just like Miller Park, just like State Fair Park. As the conversation begins on a new arena, I also want to initiate a conversation about local government financing. Specifically, it's time that we address how we're going to finance future city and county services and infrastructure. In 2009, the Public Policy Forum's annual review of the city's fiscal condition was titled Between a Rock and a Hard Place. The report stated, and I quote, that by almost any standard, the city of Milwaukee is financially well run and management is not the cause of its fiscal problems. Quote, our challenge is the property tax. We're too dependent on it. That space between a rock and a hard place is getting even tighter. The collapse of the housing market and the resulting foreclosure crisis have squeezed property values. City property taxpayers' share of the cost for the school choice program is slated to increase $15 million or 26% over the next 2 years. And as I stated earlier, state shared revenues have not kept up, not even close with inflation. If we're going to take the time to have a serious dialogue about a new sports and entertainment complex, and we should, we must also address how we're going to fund cops on the street, firefighters, essential health services, and the infrastructure we depend on. This can be done. We work well with partners. We've done it with Milwaukee County, Waukesha County, the Water Council, businesses and state and federal agencies. We're Milwaukeeans. We're good at it. It is a large part of what makes Milwaukee a great city. I'll be asking local businesses, foundations, universities, and the state to work with us to come up with a plan to provide a pathway to long-term financial stability. This is work that has to be done. We do have our challenges, but what makes us strong is that we don't stand by idly hoping that things will turn around. We take action. What makes Milwaukee great is the spirit that was so wonderfully displayed by the speakers opening this morning's program. It's that same spirit that drives the commitment we see in Reginald Baylor, Milwaukee, Northwestern Mutual, and Natural Resources Technology. It's that same spirit that all of you bring to our hometown. We are blessed to have so many smart and dedicated people who don't ask, why should I invest in Milwaukee? But who do invest in Milwaukee. Milwaukee is a city of hard workers, great ambition, and loving families. It is a city of opportunity and beauty. It is a city I am extremely proud of. Thank you very much.